Welcome everyone to my YouTube channel Read for Cat. This channel, dedicated to cat exam preparation, explore insightful analysis of Eon essays article to enhance your understanding and excel in the cat exam. My main and simple motto is to read, understand, and enjoy Eon essays. So, let's begin with our first Eon topic, which is all that we are. And it is a quite brief about this Eon essays is given here is the philosophy of personalism inspired Martin Luther King's dream of a better world. We still need its hopeful ideas today. And it is written by Bennett Gilbert, is adjunct assistant professor of history and philosophy at Portland State University, US. He is the author of A Personalist Philosophy of History, which is written in 2019, and Power and Compassion on Moral Force, Ethics and Historical Change, which is forthcoming from Amsterdam University Press, as well as numerous papers, and is co-editor of Ethics and Time in the Philosophy of History, a cross-culture approach, which is written in year 2023. So let's start with the first species. On 25th March 1965, the planes out of Montgomery, Alabama were delayed. Thousands waited in the terminal, exhausted and impassioned by the march they had undertaken from Selma in demand of equal rights for black people. Their leader, Martin Luther King Jr., waited with them. He later reflected upon what he would witness in that airport in Alabama and the scene he described here. As I stood with them and saw a white and negro, nuns and priests, ministers and rabbis, labor organizers, lawyers, doctors, homemaids, and shop workers brimming with vitality and enjoying a rare comradeship, I knew I was seeing a microcosm of mankind of the future in this moment of luminous and genuine brotherhood. So, in the faces of exhausted marchers, King saw the hope that sustained their hard work against the violence and cruelty that they have faced. It is worth asking, why was King moved to try to create a better world, and what sustained his hope? So, firstly, we check some difficult words here. First is brimming. So, it means to fill or be full to the top. The second one is vitality. It means here is energy and strength. So, what the kings try to say here, and what the title of this passage should given. The best suitable title for this passage is What Martin Luther King Jr. witnessed at Alabama airport, because he described the whole scene, what he was just witnessing that time. And he's just saying that on 25th March 1965, the plane out of the Montgomery, Alabama were delayed. And along with the King Luther, the many or more people who are his supporters are waiting with him. And he says that what he just witnessed that time, that there is lots of negroes, nuns, priests, minister, levies, labor organizations, and many more workers are waiting with him, and they're hopeful, they are energetic towards what they're demanding for, and they are just working with each other, supporting each other just like a brotherhood. And what we can take from here is that the first line, because why I'm just giving the title and putting the time lines, important lines from here, is that because in cat examinations, for remembering the passes, so that you can't just flip just come back to the passage and the questions again and again, just to save your time while reading. Just read the passage, particular para, and make a summary of it. And how you will make the summary: first, whatever the first passage you will read, make the heading of that passage, how what the passage is about, what. Then just pick out the some key lines or key points that will help you to answer the questions. See, the first, how can we say? The first, we just read the whole passage and what this passage is about. This passage is about the what Martin Luther King Jr. witnessed at Alabama airport. So we give it the title of this whole passage is what Martin Luther King Jr. witnessed at Alabama airport. And what important line we can take from here. The first one is this line. First we can take from here. What we have? It is the people there, brimming with vitality and enjoying a rare comradeship. Comradeship. So here, the comradeship's meaning is the feeling of friendship between a people who live or work together, especially in a difficult situations. So here, peoples are helping each others. This is the most important line we can take from this passage. And the another one is seeing a microcosm of mankind of the future in this moment of luminous and genius, genuine brotherhood. And the meaning of microcosm here is a small place, society, or situation that has the same characteristic as something much larger. So, moving toward the next basis. So let's start. In the faces of the exhausted marchers, King saw the hope that sustained their hard works against the violence and cruelty that they have faced. It is worth asking, why was King moved to try to create a better world? And what sustained his hope? A clue can be found in the PhD dissertations he wrote at Boston University Divinity School in 1955. Only a personal being can be good. Goodness is the true sense of the word, is an attribute of personality. The same is true of love. Outside of personality, love loses its meaning. What we love deeply is person. We love concrete objects, persistent realities, not mere interaction. A process may generate love, but the love is directed primarily not toward the process but towards the continuing person who generate that process. So firstly, let's find out the meaning of the some words, which is the marchers. What is the meaning of the marcher? Marcher is a person marching through a public place as a part of a public event. And what title should we given to this whole business? The title itself given here is that why was king moved to try to create a better world? And what sustained his hope? This whole line. We can just, this is the whole title of this particular passage. And what, and here what he trying to say that, what, why his motive, what is his hope? So here author is saying that the clue of his hope is found here in his PhD dissertations at Boston University Divinity School, where he wrote, only a person being can be good. Personal being can be good. Goodness in the true sense of the word is an attribute of personality. The same is true of love. Outside of personality, love loses its meaning. So it says that the personal being, a personality, we can just connect the goodness with, directly connect the goodness with personality, or which is the same truly, which is same meanings. We can just we can get it from the word true love. Because of the personality, the love process has started. And further he clarified by saying, what we love deeply is persons. We love concrete object, persistence reality, not mere interaction. A process may generate love, but the love is directed primarily not toward the process but toward the continuing persons who generate that process. So love happens not because of that particular feeling of the love, just because it is started with the person, that personality, and after that that process begins, not started process the first, not the process is not started first here. We just love that particular person, that person is quite attractive, we love that. Then after talking with that person, we fell in love. It's not started firstly we notice the person, then the process of love is started. So the important line we can take from here is that firstly, the goodness in the true sense of the word is an attribute of personality that we can say take. And the another one is the process may generate love, but the love is directed primarily not toward the purpose process but towards a continuing person who generate that process. Let's moving toward the next business. So let's start the next species. King subordinates everything to the flourishing of human persons because goodness in this world has no home other than of persons. Their well-being is what make the event of our lives and of our collective history worthy of effort and care. In order to demonstrate that we are worth the struggle within and among ourselves, King sought to find love between the races and classes on the basis of philosophical claims about personhood. A decade after his dissertations, he was at the forefront of the civil rights movement, marching to Montgomery. So, this passage here the king is trying to say us that everything flourishes of the human person because of goodness in the work has no home other than the persons. So everything start with a personhood. Here what the king is trying to say that their well-being is what makes the event of our life and of our collective history worthy of effort and care. Because the well-being of the people is the main motto, not just today's arena, even in ancient times, everything are all history related to the well personhood and the well-being of the people. In order to demonstrate that we are worth the struggle within and among ourselves, kings sought to find a love between the races and the classes on the basis of philosophical claim about personhood. Here the king is trying to say that king is trying to create a love bond between the races and the classes on the basis of the philosophy about personhood, that we all are connected and interrelated with each others. The earth is made to live happily, not to just discriminate each other. That king is trying to say here. And his this belief which he is brought in his dissertations was now he's working on it as a forefront civil rights movement. So, what is the suitable title of this particular thesis? So, the title should be Why King Want to Flourish a Human Persons. And what we can take from here is that first is the goodness in this world has no home other than of the persons. And another one, what we can take is just this. Their well-being is what makes the event of our lives and of our collective history worthy of effort and care. And why his motto? Find love between the races and the classes on the basis of the philosophical claims about personhood. That three lines we can take from here. Let's moving toward the next pieces. Can we still grasp and live the hope that King found? Capitalism, imperialism, nationalism, racism, like iron filling near a magnet. And all these historical forces seem to be pulled together today into one fatal, immiserating direction. They teach us hateful way to behave and promote heinous vices, and such as pride and greed. Desire flee beyond prudent limits and the rush toward disaster. It seems they were not worth all that we used to think we are worth. Can we replace our narcissism with a virtuous self regards? The philosophical tradition of personalism tells us that we can and do have hope for our future. Firstly, so let's know about some difficult words here. The first one is capitalism. What is capitalism? The capitalism is an economic and political system in which a property, business, and industries are controlled by a private owners rather than by the state with the purpose of making a profit. And imperialism. What it's mean? It's mean a system in which a country rules other country. And nationalism. And nationalism is a nation's wish and attempt to be politically independent. And the racism, which is many of you know that, is an uncertain treatment of people based on their race. And there is many more words. The first and the another one is a fatal. What it's mean? It's mean a very serious and having an important bad effect in the future. Immiserating. It means to make a people, a country, and organization poor. And vices, what it's mean by vices? It's mean an illegal and immoral activities. The prudent, what it's mean? It means a careful and avoiding risk. So let's see. What the title should give into the species. The title here itself given. It's that can we still grasp and live the hope that King found in today's era? And what we can take our main lines from here in this passage is capitalism, imperialism, nationalism, racism, all this, we just summarize this whole passage that capitalism, imperialism, nationalism, and racism, all this in today's world come into one fatal and immiserating direction. And what we can take to teach us a hateful way to behave and promote heinous vices. And another one is a desire flee beyond prudent limit and rush toward disaster. The last one. The philosophical tradition of personalism tells us that we can and do have hope for our future. So this whole piece is what this trying to say is that can we still grasp and live the hope that King found? That is a capitalism, imperialism, nationalism, racialism, all these things still exist in our today's world in one fits. And this all teaches us the hateful way to behave and promote heinous activities such as a pride, greed. The people are nowadays are greedy. Those who have powers, they are misusing it. So how can we still live in the hope which is created by the King Luther Jr.? So here author say is still questioning that can we still live in that hope? So in last line of this passage it say that the philosophical tradition of personalism tells us that we can and do have hope for our future. So our philosophical traditions say tells us that it indicate that still we can fight for our rights and we still have the hope for our futures. So let's moving toward the next pieces. King's hope come from his understanding of Christianity, though the philosophy of personalism. He largely acquired this line of thought during his graduate studies at Boston. His advisors in divinity school had been students of Boston's Parker Browning the first philosophy professor at Boston University. Bonnet founded Boston's personalism, which with William James' pragmatism was one of the two earliest American school of philosophy. For Bonnet, personhood is not the bundle of the characteristics we call personality. Instead, it is the intelligence that make reality coherent and meaningful. The core of his thoughts is that personhood is the deepest thing in existence, with intellect as the concrete realizations and source of being and causality. So, what this passage is trying to say is the first, the king's hope came from his understanding of Christianity through the philosophy of personalism. The King Luther Jr.'s understanding about hope is came from the Christianity through the philosophy of personalism. He largely acquired this line thought during his graduate studies at Boston. So this whole things and clarity about his the hope word comes in the mind of the King Luther at Boston. His advisor in divinity school had been student of the Burton Parker Bowney. The advisor of the King Luther Martins was the student of the Burton Parker Bowney, who is the first philosophy professor at the Boston University and founded a Boston personalism with William James pragmatism, which is the two earliest American school of philosophy. So, what the point of view of the Bonnet given here is a personhood is not the bundle of characteristic we call personality. It is not the characteristic of the persons which we call today's a personality. The person, the personhood is not that mean. Instead, what the personhood mean? It is the intelligence that make a reality coherent and the meaningful. The personality is not belongs to the looks. Here what the brownie is trying to say, but it's completely about the intelligence of the person. Instead, it is the intelligence that makes the reality coherent and meaningful. The core of his thought is that personhood is the deepest thing in existence. Intellect as the concrete realizations and the source of being and causality. So what author is trying to say here is that the personhood is the deepest thing in existence, intellect and the concrete realization and the source of being and casuality is how humble you are, how calm, and how your presence of mind works. In short, these sentences trying to say that. And so, what the passage title of this particular passage should be given. So, it should be a what is personalism, and what important lines we can pick from this particular passage is firstly, sorry, personhood is not the bundle of characteristic we call personality. It is an intelligence that make a reality coherent and meaningful. These two lines. And another one is that personhood is the deepest thing in existence. Intellect as the concrete realizations and the source of being and causality. That we can take from this whole passage let's moving toward the last pieces of this particular topic. Brownie says that if we dismiss abstraction because they are static and have no force in the world, what is left is solely the power of action. Action for Brownie is intelligence understood as a force that activates the concrete reality of things. This reality is not static substance, but the ceaseless business of the effect that entities have on other entities. Personhood is the non material and non biological power of relations among things, which activates all the process of the world. Reality itself is thus deeply personal. Without personhood, it would be atomi- atomized and inactive, and therefore unintelligible. In Brownia's view, only the concept of intelligent self is adequate for explaining how things are constituted and interrelated. Being is nothing without causality. Causality is nothing without intelligence. Reality is nothing without idea, and idea is nothing without reality. This intimate connections of mind and the world means that nothing can be understood apart from the intelligence that perceives and understands it. Replacing inert substances with the ever flowing labor of our human need to find meaning in life as we encounter it. So, what this passage is trying to say, Downer says that if we dismiss abstraction because they are static and have no force in the world, what is left is solely the power of actions. So, without abstractions, we are only left with the power of actions. What the actions we are taking. An action for the boundaries is intelligence understood as a force that activities the concrete reality of things. So we can't take any action without using our intelligence. So that's our concrete reality of the things because in reality if we are just thinking only not doing anything it's not working. And this reality is not a static substance, that ceaseless business of the effect that entities have on other entities. So here Bowner says that this reality is not a statistic substance but the ceaseless business of effect that entities have on other. And this reality is directly directly related to the what action we are taking and what our actions affect on other people's entity. The personhood is non-material and non-biological power of relations among things which activates all the process of the world. So the personhood is non-material and non-biological power of relation among things which activates all the process of the world. It is not a material thing and it is not a biological thing, but it is an activity that process in the world because whatever doing anything and action about anything is not a material thing and it is not even biological things but it is about a personhood. The reality itself is thus deeply personal, and the reality is also personal because if you're just doing anything, how if it affect people's, it's completely dependent on the particular person itself because every action has different reaction in different people. So without personhood, it would be atomized and inactive and therefore unintelligible. So if without personhood, which means without your intelligence, without using your mind in the right directions, it is not active. And if it is not actively work, then it is unintelligible. In Bowness' view, only the concept of intelligent selves is adequate for explaining how things are constituted and interrelated. He said that this is how, this is just not one thing, everything are interrelated with each others. And how it is? Let's see. Being is nothing without causality, and causality is nothing without intelligence. Being yourself is not is nothing but casuality. If you're not casual, not calm, you can't be yourself. And you can't be yourself without intelligence. If you're not using your intelligence, you can't be calm. And if you can't be calm, um, you're not using your intelligence. And reality is nothing without ideas, and ideas is nothing without reality. So, for creating something, the first we just create a seed of that idea or that particular thing which is known as an idea. If you didn't have any idea how you will create something, if you're not having idea how to use mobile phone, then how you make a videos, then how you write anything, then how you post anything. So for that you need to just have an idea. If you don't have any idea, then how inventions are made. This intimate connection of mind and the world means that nothing can be understood apart from the intelligence that perceive and understand it. So here it's trying to say that everything is connected. Firstly, it's connected in our mind. And if it is not, then if we don't understand intelligence, then how we understand the world? And replacing inert substances with ever-flowing life of human need to find meaning in life as we encounter it. So for our needs, we need to use our intelligence for reality, for idea, for everything. The firstly, we need to come and we need to understand our requirements and how we fulfill our requirements. That's all the author is trying to say here. And what the best suitable title given to this piece is? The title given is The Brownie Believes That Everything is Interrelated. And what we can take from this pieces, the first is dismiss of abstraction. That is from here the whole line, that dismiss of abstraction which left her solely the power of action. Another one is action force, action force that activates the concrete reality of thing. And the reality ceaseless business of the effect that entities have on other entities. The personhood is non-material and non-biological power of relation among things. And the personhood activates all the process of the world. Reality is unintelligible. Why? Because the absence of personal. Reality is nothing without idea, and idea is nothing without reality. And for ever flowing lever of our human needs to find meaning, life as we encounter it. No, no, no. Understood apart from the intelligence that perceive and understand it, and replacing the ensouled substance with ever flowing lever of human needs to find meaning in life. So that's all for today. Hope you guys enjoy and understand it. So see you guys with the next part.